I'm Megan. Let's make this case brief. Since it's probably important that we all know how businesses work, let's talk about ratification with Botticelli versus Stefanowicz. So, what is ratification? It all goes back to that fun concept of agency, mixed in with a little bit of authority. So if we remember, your agent is supposedly acting on behalf of the principal with some sort of authority. It can be actual, it can be apparent, it can be implied. So what happens if you're a principal and somebody's trying to foot you for a bill because somebody, your agent, acted with no authority on your part? One of the things that we need to think about is ratification. Technically, ratification is affirming a prior act done by your agent whereby the act is given the authority as though you had given actual authority. Basically, you're going back and you're saying, no, I signed off on it. I said that somebody could do this. Now, ratification can be expressed or implied, meaning that you say, yes, somebody was allowed to do this, or the conduct of the agent or you was basically saying, yeah, it was okay for the agent to act on my behalf doing this. This works if somebody says that they were acting on your behalf as your agent, and it also works if your conduct is so reasonable that somebody would think, oh, okay, this person says it's okay for me to act on their behalf in this way. Now, it doesn't work if somebody's misrepresenting you or you're trying to diminish the rights of somebody else. It doesn't work like that. I just threw a lot of legal terms at you, so let's actually talk about Botticelli and maybe clear things up. So the Stefanowiczes are this married couple. They have a beautiful barn, and they're also this thing called tenants in common, which means husband owns one half of the property and the wife owns the other half, and they share it together because they're married and in love. Botticelli also thinks it's a beautiful farm, and he really wants to buy it. And the Stefanowiczes are open to it. Mrs. Stefanowicz says, we are not taking any less than $85,000, and then the husband goes ahead and says, here's a lease with the option to buy later on. Get this is the important part, only the husband signs. Mrs. Botticelli is unaware of this option to buy part. So Botticelli is living on the farm. He's doing all of these improvements, he's making his payments on time, and then finally he goes to the Stefanowiczes and says, okay, I'm exercising my option to buy. But the Stefanowiczes, they say, you know what? We really love this little farm. We're gonna keep it. So Botticelli takes them to court and says, technically, Mr. Stefanowicz signed for both of you, therefore the wife is ratifying this behavior, so I should be able to exercise the option to buy as I was promised by this lease. And so this is where ratification comes up. Did the husband act as Mrs. Stefanowicz's agent when he was signing off on this lease? Does that mean that she also ratified this conduct? And this is either really good or really bad news for couples, because having a marital relationship does not mean that your spouse is your agent. The short of it is that Mrs. Stefanowicz didn't know all of the facts of this agreement that they had on the lease. What she knows is that Botticelli is paying his rent, he's making farm improvements, she's watching this happen, and she's happy with this lease that they've got. So an important thing to know with this case is that you can't ratify what you don't know. If she had known about the option to buy, then it would have been different, but she just straight up didn't. She also never went to her husband and said, oh, you can sign on my behalf for the entire agreement. Now, what can Botticelli get? He can get the husband's share, because remember that tenants in common type of deal? So he can get one half of the land, but he can't get Mary's half. And if you take away anything from this case, don't let your husband make these silly little agreements for you.